The most overused production technique in dance music at the moment, the Trance Gate. Mouthpiece using it. A new breakthrough artist used it in his track Genesis, which Medusa didn't edit of. Maybe they're the ones that added the gate to it. A new genre of house is being born called stutter house. If there's music you have that's missing that touch, that special something, then this might be the answer. So doing a gate on a vocal, if you're in Ableton, is very simple. We're gonna go into our vocal file. I just wanna touch you. You're gonna warp it. Make sure you are in beats mode. We're going to go to preserve and we're actually going to go to 1/16. Here we're going to have our transient loop mode. From here, I suggest you pick the first one as that's what everyone is doing. And every 1/16, you're going to control the decay, how fast the volume goes down with this guy here. So the lower the number, the more apparent the effect. Like so. And the higher up. I just wanna touch you. Get this really cool effect. Now the way of doing it like this has its pros, very fast to do. You can start to grab the vocal, duplicate it across, do vocal chops. So for instance, we can start bringing down here, here. From there, all you need is a house beat to go with it. From there, the second way to do this in the way that I recommend, because there's so many opportunities that arise doing this, utilize an effect. So in Ableton, we can go into Autopan and drop that in. And then we can set our rate to 1/16. That's the speed. Increase the amount. We're going to move the phase down so that it's singular. That way, both the left and right channel are ducking, so you don't get the Autopan effect. Instead, you get a gate effect. I just wanna touch you. From there, we're going to go with a saw down. I just wanna touch you. The reason you want to do this is because now you can be very strategic about what you put behind the Autopan. This is called signal flow, the way that you order stuff. Anything in front of something will affect. If you are a very adept producer, or you want to be, we can always resample this by holding Command T. Resample, record. Now, if you're in a different plugin, I didn't forget about you. You can utilize effects like LFOTOOL to do this. In fact, LFOTOOL is actually more powerful than the Autopan, because now when you hold shift, you can start to create really cool sort of modular movements, and you can get funky with the volume. You can also go for different sort of beats or utilize the presets that LFOTOOL offers, like Trance Gate 2. So the gate effect is super dope. Now, another way to implement the gate is to utilize a gate. So there's an effect called the gate width. It's used to control dynamics of drums. You know, if you have a drum with a lot of reverb, you can use a gate to take away that reverb. So pretty much when you hit the threshold, the sound is allowed out. And when it's not hit, the sound isn't allowed out. However, you can also use a gate with the sidechain feature and then just use something. So for instance, let's say this lands here and I want to create a certain rhythm. 909. Okay. Now the information you see inside of the gate is again going to be the rim. So every time the rim hits, the vocal will be allowed to say what it has to say. So for instance, I could do, and now I could start to do cool ones like here. And there you go. That's the way we utilize the gate. Now the gate's going to have a couple of settings. Very important ones that you should look at is the release. So if you want that gate to last a little longer, you want the sound to stay, the release is always the key. Just remember, release is always how long it takes to go back to what it was like before. I just wanna touch you. Too much release, you lose the effect, and too little, then it's more of a drastic. Now there's other plugins out there, like Kilohertz has the Trance Gate, which I personally like to use. It's one of my favorite ones whenever I want the effect. The main reason is that you have divisions, as you can see, and you can put them together. Very fun to use, very simple, and you have like up to 8 saved patterns, so you can switch between them. You also have somewhat of a synthesis vibe with the attack, decay, sustain, and release that you can utilize. So for instance, the resolution, we can go 1/16. Okay, that's too much. It actually sounds pretty cool. This also works on synths. Let's say you go to Evil Sounds, you buy one of my packs and support, and you want to turn one of the sounds into something different. And you're like, you know what? I got to keep up with the trend. So you find a lead, let's say like... Okay, and now you want to add the effect to this. So if you just want to add the gate effect to this, you can put LFOTOOL. However, let's say you want to do it inside here. All I recommend you do is, again, use another LFO, maybe set it to a bar or however long you want the gate pattern to be. From there, hold shift and start to do the desired effect. Sure, we'll see what happens. And then we can start to add it to our levels, okay? Like so. Now let's make it faster. And we're also gonna add it to the cutoff. A little faster. You know what? I think I messed up here. Let's do it like this. That way it's not on the offbeat, it's on the main beat. And now we have it there, okay? Now, if you want to really sell the effect, and this is a cool thing, you know, when you know a bit of sound design, you can use presets to their maximum potential. I've been working on music, which I release on Spotify, and you guys can check it out. A lot of times, you know, people will ask me, do you do your own sound design? I will usually say, no, I don't do my sound design. In fact, I go through presets, and then from there, I shape the presets to what I wanted or need for my song. This is very important because it allows me to get very creative. So, for example, here, I can turn this into a gate lead by increasing the sustain, which means as the note is held down, it lingers. The other thing is I can maybe remove all modulators on this one, grab this and set it there. So now I have that really cool effect. From there, you can see that LFO1 is routed to some distortion. So if I wanted to sell the effect more, I would bypass this one and just route my LFOTOOL. Let's find a better lead to do this on. Okay, so we can grab, again, our LFO. We're going to hold shift, 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 click down, click down, click down, click down. Move left, left, bring it up all the way maybe. And there we go. Okay, you can also get rid of this dot here and have the saw shape. The other thing too that people don't find as powerful when it comes to these sounds is that you can play with the amount. That's the difference between programming like a very static LFO, is that you can play with this amount and create cool like rhythmic changes, sort of like velocity. So it's like, it's still a sound, but now you have that really cool effect, right? So now watch. Now let's get rid of all the modulators and grab LFO3 and route it here. Now we can play with this. Going to reverse. Now we have that. Okay, very powerful. This is a different kind of gate, but again, it's still the stutter house vibe. If you just want to keep it simple, just do this and this. So in today's video, you learned about the gate effect and how you can utilize stock Ableton plugins as well as third-party plugins, as well as how signal flow is very important with the gate because you can create really dope effects if you put a reverb before the gate. You also learned how to use Serum and program gates in Serum for any preset that you might run into. This is the most overused effect in dance music at the moment. Does that mean it's bad? No, it just means that it's overused. People like what they know. So if people like the P track and they hear that stutter vocal effect and then you do it, most likely they will have a good experience with these kind of sounds and they will hit save or like on your song, which you can also do for this video and my songs on Spotify. Now, if you guys need some sounds, consider checking mine out over at evilsounds.com. People like Hardwell have utilized the Paradox series to create his new sound of techno. P utilized the new Deceiver series to create his new sound, going from Maurice West to P. James Hype utilizes the sound banks in almost all of his tracks. And I'm sure you will find your own inspiration in the sounds themselves. All my sounds are always inspired by proven to work sounds, which I believe leads to the usability of every patch. If you guys are in the quest for more knowledge when it comes to leads, consider checking this video out. In this video, I go over some of the top songs on Beatport at the moment and break down how the producers make their leads go from bland to epic. And enjoy the rest of your day.